made a little progress. Got the chains set up, jack shaft, drive shaft all on, drive chain, rear end. Got the intake manifolds finished up. Yeah, it's a little archaic, just boxy and square, but obviously this is just in testing stages. It's not even painted, still bare steel. As you can tell, you would never be able to get a bolt in that side of the reed cage. That's why we got a stud there. Obviously the reeds are not in there yet, but just to show you how it's gonna go. And next we're just gonna start finishing throwing it all together. A trick I learned a long time ago, putting a CR500 motor in a 250R, about spark plug clearance. Here, we're just gonna be a little tight with the gas tank sitting on there. So what we did in the past and what I did in the Cannondale 250R, because we had height clearance issue, was KTM spark plug. Basically the same plug, but you can gain about a ½ an inch. Just that little bit sometimes is enough without having to modify anything. Otherwise, sometimes you can heat up the bottom of the gas tank and push it in, but I've had pretty good luck with just using that spark plug to get yourself an extra ½ inch. And we're getting real close to starting it up, at least just to test it, see how it is. Obviously, we're still waiting. Got to get the intake boot on there. Still no radiator yet. We're getting closer. All right, Kurt's on the other side with the jumper box. We got some gas in the carburetor. And we're gonna see what we get. Go ahead. That was the first startup on the whole. Wow, the pipe's hot already. Yeah.
Nice.
That started up way better than I thought. All right, cool.
She runs.
Yeah. We're working on the Polaris 450R build. We already had it running with this PWK carburetor, but for clearance issues with the intake boot, I decided to go with this Mikuni TM carburetor I have. Basically gonna save ourselves 5/8 of an inch. Just because the size of the carburetors that much smaller. We got it pretty much set and ready for a test drive. Been waiting on an intake boot for 2 weeks. Post office has got it. Waiting on it. We're gonna try to see what we could do with this small radiator. I have no hopes that it won't overheat. I'm sure it's gonna overheat. Obviously the radiator is 3 times too small. We got a fan, I got it wired here. We made the wiring harness for a fan. Hopefully being cold on the ice, it cools itself good enough. Just have a filter on the back of the carb, went with that Mikuni. It's about a ½ inch shorter, a little more room. Like we said with the spark plug, Still had to heat up the tank a little bit, push it in there, but we got clearance without having to go reinvent the wheel on that one. Pipes on there, and we're gonna start it up for the first time right now. I think with the restrictive air filter that's on here and the jetting being very fat, we got to address that before it's gonna go too good. But that'll be the next day. Just by taking the air filter off, big difference. This is where we're at so far. Got the radiator, small little computer cooling fan. It's not going to be enough, but we're going to see what it's going to do because we have a temp gauge to keep an eye on it. Cooler bottles back here. Here's our intake. Wasn't the initial plan. I would never run a K&N style filter in the dust or in the dirt, but because it's going to be, for the most part, just on the ice for the next few months, I had this laying around. We're going to throw that in there. Originally, this sprocket and chain was supposed to be further over here. Let's go around the other side. Originally, the chain and sprocket was supposed to be over here, but because we ran into the issue with where the exhaust was going to go on here, we had to move the chain and sprocket inbound, which sacrificed the place for the carburetor. We still got about 3/8 of an inch of clearance, but it does all fit. Eventually I'll probably build a custom intake, possibly, if this one doesn't work, but it does fit. It fits under the tank. The radiator is an actual dirt bike radiator out of a like 2008, I believe, KTM 250SX or 300XC. Just welded up that fitting. We had a mount for it. It's in there pretty nice and snug. The temp sensor, just got some wires running. One switch for the fan. It does blow pretty decent. For a little computer fan, it was the only thing that actually fits perfect. Coolant lines. The only foreseen problem that I have is overheating with this small radiator, but we're gonna see and keep an eye on the temperature.